Hello, this is Theolin again with the Bridge of Stars. And if you've been following the series, you'll know that every day I start with another character from the Angels script. And for those who don't know anything about it, these characters come from an ancient magical alphabet called the writing of the Malachim. And Hebrew, Malachim means angels. Well, actually it means messengers. But the messengers from the stars were always considered to be divine. Those messages in the sky with the stars, the constellations, the planets, that was the heavenly writing. And so this alphabet looks like star writing. Some people have suggested we could call them star runes. So today's character is, come along, is Samech, creativity. And this is one of my favourites. You can see it's got 6 orbs of light. It's quite busy. It's gathered into the centre, so there's a sense of, yeah, let's get all the resources tied together and make good patterns from them. You could liken it to, actually, you could think of it as knitting needles, or you could think of it as a bundle of corn. There are all kinds of images that pop up when you see this particular configuration. You might like to experiment. I'm going to read you a few words from the very beginning of the channeled message. Creativity is energy at play. That's why I like it so much, because it's so playful. The divine takes up its own light and makes simple shapes, light and shadow, creating a game in which duality is a tool with which to manifest a vision. The rules in this game are made to measure, but they can be changed. They are very simple rules, but often we only see half of them, and we choose only to enjoy the game when the results appeal to us. We do not see the underlying structure in which we participate. When we understand the playful nature of divine creativity, then we can join in the game and become creators too. We must also realise that the divine does not wantonly set aside its own creations if they become weak, but nurtures them, heals them, and realigns them. Creativity involves a continual awareness, a remembrance of the original vision, together with a perpetual dedication to the task of manifesting the desired intent. Okay, so continual awareness and always remembering the original vision, plus dedication, constant dedication to the task by which you can manifest your vision. So when you get a vision, you can put down the plan, you can put down the ideas, but then you have to be dedicated to nurturing the process, and then something will manifest. Do you hear in that series that I've just mentioned that there are 4 stages? These are like the 4 worlds. If you want to find out more about 4 worlds, you can look at a series of videos I made called How to Bring Real Magic into Your Life. So first, you get a vision. Second, you do your plotting and your planning. That's the 2nd world. 3rd world, you do your nurturing. You do you are continually dedicated or committed to nurturing this process. This is like a baby in the womb being nurtured by mother. Then the vision can be manifested. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So that's what creativity is about. It's about playing with the light and the shadow, recognizing that there are dualities in our world, we couldn't have any creativity without some dualities. And our game in life, if you like, is to find a way to use that duality to its best possibility, so that it doesn't actually get too extreme, but it kind of hovers in a gentle pulse. So the energy flow, the Schäfer, comes through us, brings some new creations, because each one of us is entitled as a birthright to bring something new into the world. Even just ourselves. It doesn't have to be a work of art, doesn't have to be painting the Sistine Chapel or something like that. But whatever it is, we must be connected to the divine and be on a journey of playfulness and delight and joy, and taking that delight in what we create. And those creations are not just for us, they're to be shared. So that's creativity, as I say, one of my favourite characters. So now we have to talk about archangels. I've been working through the archangels of the week over the last few episodes. And let me just back check on them. Okay, so first we had Raphael, because that was a Friday episode. Then we looked at Samael, because that was a Saturday episode. And then we looked at Auriel, because that was a Monday episode. And then we looked at Haniel, because he was a Tuesday episode. Then we looked at Gabriel, a Wednesday episode. Then we looked at Zadkiel for the Thursday episode. Okay, so because I only make 6 of these episodes every week, because I give myself a holy day, a day off, there's somebody missing. Okay, if you were a classroom of small children, I'd probably ask you to put your hands up and tell me if you can, if you know who that is. But you're not small children, and I'm not in a classroom anymore. In fact, I couldn't be now, could I? So, who we have now? Let me get him ready, because he's the big cheese. Ta-da! Here we come. Michael. Yes. It's interesting that just by the way it worked out, I've had to talk about him last. I'm not making this for a Sunday, but that is his day, Sunday. And of course, Michael is such a big cheese in the Archangel Pantheon. He is commander of all the archangels. And when you look on the Tree of Life, his Sephira is called Tiferet, which is beauty, and that's right in the middle. And you can, if you know the Tree of Life, you can see all the threads going through him. If you don't know the Tree of Life and how these archangels relate to them, come on the Path Working with Archangels course. Even if you come to it a bit late, the videos that I'm making for it will always be up there, and you will always be able to download the materials for free. So, Michael's name means like unto God. And that's interesting, because the sun, the physical sun, was always considered in ancient religions and spiritualities and esoteric traditions to be a representative of God itself, of the divine. And this is why at a certain stage in Egyptian culture, they worshipped Ra, being the sun god. So the sun has always had this mighty, mighty reputation. But of course, because that's where the life energy comes down to planet Earth. And Michael's reputation is so vast, you could write a whole book about him. Here in Britain, of course, we've got every other Christian church is called Michael and All Angels. And he's most famous, of course, for slaying a dragon. And the dragon represents, well, in biblical terms and sort of fundamentalist language, he represents evil. I prefer to think that Michael is wrestling with ignorance, right? I mean, ignorance is a really good word for the sort of blind refusal almost to really see what is going on in this wonderful creation that we live in. So, although sometimes the dragon is seen as a satanic, dark satanic figure, well, we could talk about Satan a bit, but that might take a whole episode. But Satan, the Hasatan in Hebrew, just means the tester, the adversary. Doesn't mean anything evil, just means what you have to deal with, what you have to come up against in order to learn something. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a dark supernatural force that is evil. But when Michael is depicted in stained glass windows or in statues, we often see him with this great spear, and at his feet we have this dragon kind of character. Sometimes it has a face and it looks more like some kind of demon image. And Michael is slaying that. I once came across a very beautiful statue. It's in St Michael's Mount in Cornwall, and a woman, a sculptor, was asked to make them a statue of Michael, and she agreed to the commission only on the basis that she did not want him to be slaying anything. She didn't want him to be slaying the dragon or the devil or whatever. She wanted to depict him holding out a gesture of reconciliation. And that's what that statue is like. I don't know whether you can find it on the internet to have a look at, but it's very special, and I was hugely impressed when I came across it. So that's St Michael's Mount in Cornwall, and right off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of the sculptor. No, I can't. That's gone. But I could always put it under the comments for you. But just look for St Michael's Mount, Michael and the Dragon, or Michael and the Devil. So as I say, we could write a whole book about Michael, but obviously we'll say quite a lot about him in the Path Working with Archangels series. So I invite you to think about who Michael might be in your life, because he's like the archangel of the heart, and he's the archangel that allows you to rise up to your sovereign self, because you recognize that you are like God, you are like unto God. So opening up that Michael energy is very, very powerful, and all the energy that's streaming through creation can bring this kind of energetic enlightenment through Michael. And he takes charge of all the other energies, all the other archangels. But he's the one who kind of holds them together so that they're not just going off and doing all their own things. So I hope that's helpful and inspiring. And don't forget to come on Path Working with Archangels. Let me just put that one away. And then we'll go to Bridge of Stars for the day. The one I found today that called to me is called Ancestors. And I've found during my spiritual journey that puzzling and researching my ancestors has been immensely useful to me. But perhaps the most useful thing is that something in my ancestry called to me that I couldn't even identify by intellectual research, and I just had to trust it. I had to delve deep inside myself and wonder and do past life research and all that kind of, all those processes. And then I began to get a picture of my spiritual ancestry, not just my DNA ancestry, you could say. So this is why I was very pleased to come across Ancestors. This is a Native American prayer. O great spirit of our ancestors, I raise my pipe to you to your messengers, the four winds, and to Mother Earth, who provides for your children. Give us the wisdom to teach our children to love, to respect, and to be kind to each other, so that they may grow with peace in mind. Let us learn to share all the good things that you provide for us on this earth. And I do feel that this present emergency, crisis, pandemic, is bringing out the best possibilities. It gives us the opportunity to bring out the best possibilities for being kind to each other and for sharing resources. Because even straight-laced governments and companies know that actually, unless you nurture people, then the economy suffers anyway. I mean, they have a rather hard-nosed commercial attitude to people, but at least that's shifting the way that people will work and that people will share resources in the future. Let us pray for that. So many blessings. Stay joyful. Join me on Pathworking with Archangels. Share that with your friends. The more people start working with the archangels, the better at a time like this. It will empower you. It will give a sense of confidence. It will radiate its energy into the world. Stay joyful, and I'll be back tomorrow.